Okay, I believe we're ready to start. This meeting of the Louisiana Tax Commission is hereby called to order. The meeting is being held at the office of the Louisiana Tax Commission, address 1051 North 3rd Street, Suite 225, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The date is Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. The time is 10:05 a.m. Can we have a roll call?
Chairman Shahardi. Commissioner Potier.
Here.
Commissioner Jeffers.
Here.
Commissioner Vercher.
Here.
Commissioner Wood.
Here.
4 present and a quorum.
We'll move on to old business. Is there any old business? Hearing none, we'll go on to item 5, consideration of change orders. Excuse me, item 4.
Chandrika Banks on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Today we have a total of 1,440 change orders. Staff has reviewed those change orders and requests to approve 1,370. We'll place 64 in pending status and deny 6. Reason for rejection, 1 in Iberia and 2 in Jefferson Parish for not providing an occupancy date when applying a homestead exemption. 1 in Orleans, 3rd District, 1 in Orleans, 5th District, and 1 in St. Tammany. Change order reason was to apply a homestead exemption, but credit was not applied. Staff requests approval of these change orders.
If you're ready for a motion,
I'm ready.
I would move that we accept the staff recommendations and approve 1,370 change orders, place 64 in pending status, and deny 6 for the reasons given.
I have a motion. Is there any objection to the motion? Hearing no objection, the motion stands. We have prior pending change orders.
Chandrika Banks on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Today we have a total of 55 prior pending change orders. Staff has reviewed those change orders and requests to approve 32 and keep 23 remaining in pending status. Staff requests approval of the prior pending change orders.
I have a motion.
I make a motion to accept the staff recommendations for the prior period change orders on a total of 55 and approval of 32 change orders and accept pending orders in the amount of 23.
Okay, that's prior pending change orders. We're going to approve 32 and put 23 back in pending status.
That's correct.
All right, that's the motion. Do I have any objection to the motion? Hearing no objection, the motion passes. All right, item B, consideration of tax sale cancellation.
Chandrika Banks on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Today we have a total of 3 tax sale cancellations, 1 in Lafayette Parish due to being duly assessed, and 2 in East Baton Rouge Parish due to being sold in error. And we also have 1 in Ouachita Parish that was previously approved. We will be doing a correction due to incorrect assessment number. Staff requests approval of 3 tax sale cancellations.
Chairman, I move approval, 3 tax sale cancellations based on staff's recommendation. 1 in Lafayette Parish and 2 in East Baton Rouge Parish.
I have a motion. The objection to the motion. Hearing none, the motion passes. All right, item 5. Consideration of the first quarter supplemental tax rolls for Orleans Parish, tax years 2019 through 2022.
Good morning, Tanisha Malva on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Staff has received the Orleans Parish supplemental tax roll for years 2019 through 2022, quarter 1. The assessor has verified that the information contained in the supplemental tax roll is correct and that all affected taxpayers were timely notified. A quietus and legislative auditor letter are not required for this supplemental roll. We have received the supplemental electronic roll the TC 33 abstract, and the grand recap and the values match. Please note that the LTC values did not change from, the prior years of filing their original rolls, which they normally don't with a supplemental roll. Staff requests approval of this supplemental roll. And also the reason for this roll is because, there were properties where homestead exemption had to be removed, and also to add the Folgers Coffee Company properties back on their, rolls for those years.
Right, I think Drew's gonna
Commission
maybe
members, before we-
elaborate on it a little bit.
That is correct.
Before you make a motion to approve or deny the first quarter supplemental tax roll from Orleans Parish, just a reminder, and thank you for your patience as we've worked through this process, but this roll was originally filed with us last year, as you know. And Folger Coffee Company sought a temporary restraining order, which then was converted to a preliminary injunction, which was granted by the district court in Orleans Parish, on the basis that Folger Coffee Company had some pending ITEP applications. There was a status conference on March 16th, 2023 with Judge Omar Mason, at which time Judge Mason determined that the preliminary injunction had expired and dissolved. And I have a judgment that has been signed by Judge Mason. Specifically, it says that it's hereby ordered, adjudicating decree, the preliminary injunction ordered by this court in its judgment dated November 18, 2022, including the injunctions ordered against the tax commission and the injunctions ordered against the assessor, have been satisfied. The injunctions are expired and dissolved as of March 16, 2023. The injunction was the only impediment to the approval of these supplemental tax rolls as established by staff. Ms. Malvo, we have received all the necessary paperwork and everything else is in proper order. But we were operating in compliance with Judge Mason's injunction up until it was dissolved 2 weeks ago. We did not meet last week, so this is the first meeting in which you've had an opportunity to consider approval of the tax roll. I'm happy to answer any other questions, but there is no legal impediment to your approval. And based on staff's recommendation, I would agree and would recommend that you approve the supplemental tax roll from Orleans Parish for the first quarter.
And Ms. Hoffman, elaborate on it being the first quarter a little bit, clear that up.
Sure, and that this is based on my understanding that the Assessor Williams is going to style his supplemental tax rolls, and I know Russell's here, and if I say something wrong, Russ, then let us know. But he's going to do a supplemental tax roll in each quarter of the calendar year. So there'll be a first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. This was the first quarter supplemental tax roll for calendar year 2022. And this contains the Folger Coffee Company assessments for tax years 19, 2020, 2021, and 2022. He will have to submit another supplemental tax roll for tax year 2023, which was the tax roll that was just approved and certified by the commission either late at the end of last year or the beginning of this year.
But this is the supplemental tax roll for the year 2019
And 2020,
and 2021, 20 and 2021.
And 2022,
and
2022.
2022. That's correct.
Quarter
first quarter.
of 2023, is that correct?
No, my
No,
understanding is
it's
that
calendar year 2022 for the tax years of 2019 through 2022, quarter one. So we'll be receiving a quarter two, a quarter three, and a quarter four at some point
in theory,
assuming for calendar year 2022. And then he will also need to follow up with a supplemental roll for tax year 2023 tax roll to add the Folgers back in onto the roll for that year, for that tax year.
the reference to the first quarter, I think, is just for perhaps their purposes to know that these were the assessments they identified during the first quarter of the calendar year of 2022 that required a supplemental assessment. And the assessor is authorized to go back 3 years, 3 calendar years in performing the supplemental assessment. And so I don't think, did we receive a second quarter?
We did, but that one excluded Folgers, and now
So we
that the
approved.
order is lifted, they need to go back and redo a new roll, supplemental roll to include Folgers in there.
Okay, so fair enough. So I would anticipate we're going to receive a second quarter 2022, as well as, I guess it'll be styled as a first quarter 2023. But I would anticipate we'll start getting up to 4 of these per year, per calendar year, from Orleans Parish. But in terms of the injunction, there is no legal impediment to your approval of the supplemental assessment listings based on the assessor's representations that the taxpayers have been notified. He's followed the procedural requirements as outlined in LARS 47/1966. I see no reason why the first quarter supplemental tax roll for tax year 2019 through 2022 should not be approved.
Well, I think Mr. Jeffers has a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval, first quarter supplemental tax roll for Orleans Parish, first quarter 2019, first quarter 2020, first quarter 2021, and first quarter 2022, as recommended by staff.
Yeah, before we actually, vote on this, I think, representative from Orleans Parish has a comment.
Yes, sir. Just to clarify, it's the first quarter is only for year 22. All prior years are the full years. So it'd be the full year of 19, full year 20, 21, and then the first quarter of 22. We're gonna do subsequent years quarterly, so there'll be four submittals each year.
Let me try that again.
I believe we have a substitute motion.
I move approval of the supplemental tax roll for Orleans Parish for tax year 2019, 2020, 2021, and the first quarter of 2022, as recommended by staff.
I have a motion. Any objection to the motion? Hearing no objection, the motion's approved. I think I don't think we have any other matters. All right, I have a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Have a motion to adjourn. Hearing no objection, meeting stands adjourned. Time of adjournment,